What if the most dangerous places on Earth are not war zones or disaster sites, but quiet villages where the rules of survival no longer resemble our own? Places where isolation is not an accident of geography, but a permanent condition of life. Where a single wrong step, a cultural misunderstanding, or the decision to travel alone can carry real and irreversible risk. Across the planet exist villages so remote and so culturally sealed that modern maps barely explain them. They are separated not only by oceans, mountains, and extreme climates, but by belief systems and traditions that resist the outside world. In Nagoro, Japan, human life has quietly vanished, replaced by hundreds of lifelike figures that stare back in unsettling silence, blurring the boundary between presence and absence. On the Uros floating islands of Peru, entire communities survive atop fragile layers of reeds, where isolation is literal and the ground beneath your feet is never truly stable. And deep in the highlands of Tana, Toraja, Indonesia, death itself follows unfamiliar rules, transforming otherness into a daily reality rather than a distant concept. These villages challenge everything we assume about safety, society, and human behavior. They are shaped by extreme isolation, constant risk, and traditions that define who belongs and who does not. In this documentary, we journey into the world's most impossible villages, where isolation magnifies danger, where otherness shapes survival, and where visiting alone may be the most dangerous choice of all. Nagoro. Hidden deep inside Japan's Iya Valley, Nagoro is a village where time has not moved forward, but thinned out. Today, the village is populated by more than 300 life-sized human dolls, while the number of living residents has fallen to fewer than 40, flipping the basic definition of what a community is supposed to be. These figures are not decorative art, but deliberate stand-ins for former villagers, positioned at bus stops, fields, classrooms, and front doors, reconstructing daily life as it once existed. As daylight fades, Nagoro becomes almost entirely silent, a level of stillness so extreme that researchers link prolonged exposure to increased anxiety and altered perception of time. With no conversations, no footsteps, and no routine human signals, the brain begins to react, interpreting absence as presence. From a scientific perspective, Nagoro is a living record of demographic collapse, reflecting a national trend where over 60% of Japan's rural villages face rapid population loss due to aging and migration. Nagoro leaves visitors with a chilling question. When people disappear faster than places can adapt, does a village truly die, Or does it simply wait to be forgotten? Mingo Island is a rocky speck in Lake Victoria, a place so small it feels like it should not exist on its own. With an area of around 2,000 square meters, the island is crowded with several hundred fishermen, creating one of the most extreme population densities on fresh water anywhere in the world. Metal shacks cling tightly to the rock, leaving almost no space between daily life and open water, where a single slip can turn fatal. The island's value comes from Nile perch, a fish that can weigh over 50 kilograms and drives a trade worth hundreds of millions of dollars each year, pulling Kenya and Uganda into years of tense dispute. Limited clean water, poor sanitation, and constant competition intensify everyday risk. When violent storms roll across Lake Victoria, sending waves higher than small boats, Mingo transforms into a trap with nowhere to escape, revealing how survival can shrink to the size of a stone. Tana, Toraja, Indonesia, is a place where death does not mark an ending, but an extended phase of life itself. Among the Toraja people, the deceased may remain inside family homes for months or even years, preserved and spoken to as if illness has merely paused time. Funeral ceremonies are often delayed until families can gather resources, events that can last several days and involve the sacrifice of dozens of water buffalo, animals whose value can exceed tens of thousands of dollars each. The dead are placed in tombs carved directly into vertical limestone cliffs, some positioned more than 20 meters above the ground, turning burial into a dangerous interaction with gravity. In certain rituals, infants who die before growing teeth are laid to rest inside living trees, which can take decades to slowly seal the body within the trunk. The danger here is not hostility, but the collision of belief, exposure, and a blurred boundary between life and death, making Tana Toraja one of Earth's most psychologically demanding places to witness alone. Uros, floating islands, Peru, exist in a state of constant negotiation with gravity, water, and time. Built entirely from totora reeds, these artificial islands float on Lake Titicaca and must be rebuilt layer by layer every few weeks, or they slowly absorb water and begin to sink. The Uros people live at an elevation of over 3,800 meters above sea level, where oxygen levels are significantly lower and the human body burns more energy simply to function. Every step compresses the soft, damp surface, and weakened sections can suddenly give way, exposing freezing water just beneath the reeds. At night, temperatures can drop to near freezing, while strong Andean winds sweep across open water with no natural shelter, amplifying cold and fatigue. Children learn balance before they learn fear, adapting to a surface that shifts with every movement. The danger here is not conflict or predators, but survival on land that does not truly exist, where isolation, risk, and ingenuity float side by side. Kayan Village. In this remote community of Myanmar, tradition is not only practiced, it is worn on the body itself. From early childhood, many Kayan women begin adding brass neck rings, one by one, until adulthood, when the stack can reach more than 20 coils and weigh over 10 kilograms. Contrary to popular belief, these rings do not lengthen the neck, but gradually press the collarbones and upper ribs downward, permanently reshaping the skeleton and altering muscle structure. After decades of continuous wear, sudden removal can lead to severe weakness, loss of balance, and long-term injury, making the tradition biologically binding as well as cultural. Medical services are scarce, and generations have adapted to carrying this weight without consistent access to treatment or rehabilitation. Anthropologists link the practice to identity, resilience, and survival, forged through more than 100 years of displacement, ethnic conflict, and isolation near contested borders. Here, beauty, endurance, and belonging merge into a single expectation. The danger of Kayan Village is not found in cliffs or predators, but in the limits placed on the human body and choice itself, where entering alone means confronting a culture shaped by constraint, memory, and survival. Bajau Water Village. Built directly above the sea, this water village belongs to a people whose lives have never truly touched solid ground. The Bajau Laut, often called sea nomads, spend much of their lives on boats or stilt houses, developing extraordinary biological adaptations over generations. Scientific studies show that some Bajau divers can reach depths of more than 60 meters on a single breath, staying underwater for several minutes, aided by spleens that are on average about 50% larger than those of neighboring populations. Children learn to swim before they can read, and daily survival depends on the rhythms of tide, wind, and current. Storms can arrive with little warning, sending powerful waves beneath wooden homes supported by thin poles driven into the seabed. In poor weather, isolation becomes total, cutting the village off from land for days. The danger here is not predators or conflict, but the ocean itself, demanding cooperation, shared knowledge, and constant vigilance, making this village a place where survival is never a solo act. Igbo-Ora sits quietly in southwestern Nigeria, yet its birth statistics defy global expectations. The town records over 50 twin births per 1,000 deliveries, a rate several times higher than the worldwide average, making it one of the most studied twin hotspots on Earth. Scientists have linked this phenomenon to a traditional diet rich in yams and local plants containing natural compounds that may trigger multiple ovulation. For mothers, carrying twins dramatically increases physical strain, requiring almost double the calories, medical attention, and recovery time, all within a region where healthcare access remains limited. Culturally, twins are viewed as blessings, shaping ceremonies, names, and family identity across generations. But raising two infants at once places intense economic pressure on households already navigating scarcity. Igbo-Ora stands as a rare biological experiment in plain sight, where nature amplifies reproduction beyond the margin of safety, quietly testing how much the human body and community can endure at the same time. Santa Cruz del Islote. Often described as one of the most crowded places on Earth, this artificial island compresses an entire community into a space barely larger than a city block. With an area of about 1 hectare, it supports over 1,000 residents, creating a level of density rarely recorded anywhere else. Homes are packed wall to wall, leaving no roads, no trees, and almost no private space, only narrow passageways measured in footsteps. All fresh water and most food must be transported by boat from the mainland, tying survival directly to weather and fuel. Electricity is limited, and a single fire could spread across the island in minutes, with nowhere to flee. Despite these pressures, violent crime is almost non-existent, sustained by constant proximity and shared responsibility. As sea levels rise and storms intensify, the island's margin for safety continues to shrink. The danger here is not conflict, but the reality of fitting an entire society into a space so small that mistakes are no longer an option. Hadza tribe. Living along the edges of Lake Eyasi, the Hadza represent one of humanity's oldest surviving ways of life. With a population of fewer than 1,000 people, they remain among the last true hunter-gatherer societies on Earth, relying entirely on bows, poisoned arrows, digging sticks, and an encyclopedic knowledge of the land. Their diet shifts daily, built from wild game, tubers, berries, and honey, which can provide up to 20% of their total calories, despite the danger of harvesting it from towering trees. There is no farming, no stored food, and no permanent shelter, meaning survival resets every sunrise. Anthropologists study the Hadza to understand how early humans lived for over 200,000 years, noting their strong social bonds and remarkable physical endurance. For anyone entering alone, this world offers no buffer between human life and nature, only adaptation or failure in the land of the Hadza tribe, Tanzania. Oymyakon, Russia, is widely recognized as the coldest permanently inhabited village on Earth, a place where daily life unfolds at the edge of human tolerance. Winter temperatures here have fallen to minus 90 degrees Fahrenheit, cold enough to freeze exposed skin in less than 1 minute and disable unprotected equipment almost instantly. The ground is permanently frozen, making farming impossible and forcing buildings to rest on raised supports instead of traditional foundations. Vehicles are kept running continuously so engines do not turn solid, while batteries and electronic devices can fail after only a few minutes outdoors. Food comes almost entirely from meat and fish, naturally preserved by air colder than most industrial freezers. Scientists study Oymyakon as a real-world laboratory of extreme cold adaptation, where survival depends on discipline, routine, and shared knowledge. This village needs no fences or guards. In Oymyakon, isolation and a single moment of carelessness allow the cold itself to become the ultimate threat. Ganvie, Benin, rises from the surface of Lake Nokue as one of the largest water-based settlements on Earth, a village built entirely on survival and memory. Home to over 20,000 residents, every house, school, market, and place of worship stands on wooden stilts driven into shallow water, forming a floating city without streets. Ganvie was founded in the 17th century when communities escaped slave raids by choosing water over land, turning the lake into a shield no army could easily cross. Daily life unfolds on narrow boats, with children paddling to school and traders navigating floating markets where a single collision can send goods or people into the water. Fishing sustains much of the population, yet the lake also serves as the primary source of washing and waste disposal, increasing the risk of waterborne disease. Medical care is limited, and emergencies depend on travel by boat, where minutes lost can mean lives lost. Storms can arrive suddenly, pushing waves beneath fragile homes and testing the stability of an entire community at once. Ganvie is not dangerous because it floats, but because every day requires balance, cooperation, and trust in water that offers no solid ground, turning survival into a continuous act shared by thousands. The Korowai tribe of Indonesia lives deep within the rainforests of Papua, in a vertical world where survival begins far above the ground. Their homes rise over 100 feet into the forest canopy, built to avoid predators, rival groups, and seasonal flooding. Access requires ladders carved from single tree trunks, where a single slip can be fatal and rescue is virtually impossible. The surrounding rainforest is among the least explored on Earth, containing thousands of insect species, many venomous, and a constant risk of infection from even the smallest wound. For decades, the Korowai remained almost entirely isolated, sustaining themselves through hunting wild pigs, harvesting sago, and locating hidden freshwater sources. In Korowai territory, survival depends on knowledge passed down for generations. And for anyone arriving alone, a single mistake can mean vanishing into the forest forever. Skeleton tribe, Papua New Guinea, lives in the mist-covered highlands where identity, survival, and tradition are inseparable. During ritual gatherings, members coat their bodies in white clay and trace dark lines across their skin, creating the illusion of living skeletons believed to channel ancestral spirits and intimidate rivals. These practices evolved in isolation at elevations reaching over 6,000 feet, where steep terrain, slick trails, and constant fog can reduce visibility to only a few yards. For generations, the region remained largely cut off, shaped by intertribal conflict and strict cultural boundaries that outsiders rarely cross safely. The danger here is not the tribe's appearance, but stepping into a world ruled by ritual, isolation, and invisible boundaries that have defined survival for centuries. Makoko, Nigeria, exists in the shadow of one of Africa's largest cities, yet functions as a world apart. Built on stilts above a polluted lagoon, this floating settlement is home to more than 40,000 people, packed into wooden houses separated by narrow waterways instead of streets. Daily movement depends on small canoes, navigating water darkened by waste, where clean drinking sources are scarce and waterborne disease spreads easily. Most homes lack electricity and sanitation, and access to medical care is limited, leaving preventable illness as a constant threat. Despite sitting beside a metropolis of over 20 million residents, Makoko remains largely excluded from urban infrastructure and governance. Makoko is not dangerous because it is remote, but because survival unfolds daily inside a megacity, where isolation exists not by distance, but by neglect. The Tuareg people of the Sahara Desert are legendary nomads who survive in one of the most hostile environments on Earth. By day, surface temperatures can exceed 122 degrees Fahrenheit, while nights plunge close to freezing, forcing the human body to endure extreme thermal shock within hours. Known as the Blue Men of the Desert, Tuareg wear indigo-dyed robes that cover the face, a design that blocks sand, slows dehydration, and filters air during sudden sandstorms. Water sources are separated by distances of dozens of miles, and many desert routes exist only in oral memory, passed between generations rather than written maps. Scientists and anthropologists study the Tuareg as masters of desert adaptation, relying on astronomy, wind patterns, and subtle landmarkers invisible to outsiders. They do not live in fixed villages, yet their moving world reveals a harsh truth. In the Sahara, survival leaves no margin for error, and isolation punishes hesitation without mercy. The Tsaatan tribe of northern Mongolia survives in the frozen taiga near the Siberian border, where winter dominates most of the year and temperatures can drop below -40 degrees Fahrenheit. Life here revolves entirely around reindeer, animals that provide transportation, milk, clothing, and social identity, binding human survival directly to the health of each herd. Families migrate constantly through forests and frozen wetlands, traveling hundreds of miles each year across land with no roads, signs, or permanent shelter. Anthropologists consider the Tsaatan one of the last remaining reindeer herding cultures on Earth, preserving survival knowledge refined over thousands of years of cold weather adaptation. This is not a world designed for individual endurance. Among the Tsaatan, survival belongs to shared memory, cooperation, and an unforgiving wilderness that leaves no margin for error. Cliff Village, China, clings to a sheer mountainside where daily life unfolds hundreds of feet above the valley floor. For generations, residents access their homes by climbing a network of wooden ladders bolted into near-vertical rock, ascending over 2,600 feet in total elevation with no safety rails. Children carried school supplies on their backs, while elders climbed with groceries, tools, and water, where a single slip could be fatal. In strong winds or rain, the ladders became slick and unstable, turning routine travel into a life-threatening gamble. In 2016, steel staircases replaced the wooden ladders, reducing accidents but not erasing the psychological weight of living on the edge. The danger here was never predators or conflict, but gravity itself, demanding courage, balance, and daily trust in a path carved straight into the sky. Tristan da Cunha Island, United Kingdom, is the most remote inhabited place on Earth, floating in the South Atlantic more than 1,500 miles from the nearest continent. Fewer than 300 people call this island home, living beneath an active volcanic cone that rises over 6,700 feet above sea level. With no airport, every arrival depends on cargo ships that take about 6 days to cross unpredictable oceans, and storms can isolate the island for months at a time. In 1961, a volcanic eruption forced the entire population to evacuate, proving that nature still dictates the rules. Fresh food, fuel, and medical supplies arrive only a few times each year, turning self-sufficiency into a necessity, not a choice. Tristan da Cunha is not dangerous because of conflict, but because distance itself becomes a threat, where help is far away and every decision must account for the long silence of the sea. Taos Pueblo, United States, stands as one of the longest continuously inhabited communities in North America, with human presence stretching back more than 1,000 years. Built from earth, straw, and water, its multi-story adobe homes rise directly from the desert floor, their walls measuring several feet thick to regulate temperature without modern technology. In winter, when high desert nights can drop below 30 degrees Fahrenheit, the structures trap heat deep inside their earthen cores. In summer, as daytime temperatures climb past 90 degrees Fahrenheit, The same walls keep interior spaces remarkably cool. Science is embedded in the design, turning raw materials into a natural climate control system refined over centuries. Within the ancient core, there is still no electricity or running water, a deliberate choice that preserves tradition while demanding daily resilience. Its true danger is subtle, showing how survival itself can become a lifelong discipline shaped by time, climate, and memory. Kawah Ijen Village, Indonesia, sits on the rim of an active volcano, where daily life unfolds beside one of the most acidic lakes on Earth. The turquoise water hides a chemical extreme, with surface temperatures climbing above 100 degrees Fahrenheit and acidity strong enough to dissolve metal. Each morning, sulfur miners descend a crater, plunging hundreds of feet into the volcano, following narrow paths etched into unstable rock. On their backs, they carry raw sulfur loads, weighing more than 180 pounds, often with little more than cloth mass and determination. The air is saturated with sulfur dioxide, a gas capable of damaging lungs after only a few minutes of direct exposure. At night, the mountain reveals its famous blue fire, an electric glow caused by ignited sulfur gases leaking through cracks in the earth. This village is not threatened by eruption alone, but by a fragile balance where survival depends on endurance at the edge of a living volcano. Ushguli, Georgia, stands in the high Caucasus at more than 7,000 feet above sea level, where thin air and isolation quietly shape everyday life. Ancient stone towers, some built over 500 years ago, dominate the valley, originally raised to defend families in a region where help was always far away. The altitude limits agriculture to short windows, forcing residents to rely heavily on livestock and preserve food for much of the year. Road access follows narrow mountain paths, and a single landslide can sever contact with the outside world for several weeks. Medical facilities are minimal, meaning serious injuries often require travel of dozens of miles to reach advanced care. Oxygen levels are lower than at sea level, placing constant strain on the human body, especially during physical labor. Ushguli is not hostile by violence, but by elevation itself, proving how endurance becomes a daily discipline when a village lives closer to the sky than the world below. Masai Mara, Kenya, stretches across more than 580 square miles of open savanna, where human life unfolds inside one of Earth's most concentrated predator zones. Here, Masai communities coexist with lions that can weigh over 400 pounds, elephants standing nearly 10 feet tall, and buffalo capable of charging at speeds above 30 miles per hour. Traditional homes, built from mud, wood, and cattle dung, offer insulation against heat, but little protection from wildlife, placing villages just a few hundred feet from hunting grounds. Water sources may lie several miles away, often shared with hippos and crocodiles, turning daily routines into calculated risks. This landscape functions as a living laboratory where ecology and culture collide, proving that coexistence here depends not on barriers, but on knowledge passed down for hundreds of years, in a place where humans live inside nature's food chain rather than above it. Kandovan is a rare human settlement carved directly into volcanic rock, where daily life unfolds inside cone-shaped formations born from ash more than 7,000 years ago. These stone homes function as natural climate systems, keeping interiors near 60 degrees Fahrenheit during freezing winters and below 75 degrees Fahrenheit in the dry summer heat, without modern insulation. Many dwellings rise 2 to 3 stories vertically inside the rock, connected by narrow passages often less than 3 feet wide, turning simple movement into a careful act of balance. Some caves have been continuously occupied for over 600 years, blurring the line between architecture and geology. Here, survival is not threatened by predators or conflict, but by gravity, erosion, and time itself, in a place where humans choose to live inside the earth rather than on top of it. Bajau Village, Iran. Phuktal Monastery clings to a sheer cliff in the Zanskar Valley, like a structure carved by patience rather than hands, suspended at more than 12,000 feet above sea level. A cave used by spiritual seekers for over 2,000 years, the monastery appears fused with the rock itself, blurring the line between architecture and geology. Reaching it demands a trek of several miles on foot, along ledges only a few feet wide, where one mistake can mean a fall of hundreds of feet into the canyon below. There are no roads, no power grid, and no stable signal, leaving fewer than 100 residents reliant on precise timing and limited seasonal supplies. At this elevation, oxygen levels are reduced by nearly 40%, pushing the human body into constant physiological adaptation. This is not isolation by accident, but by design, a place where survival is shaped by discipline, restraint, and an unbroken negotiation between belief and the raw limits of the human body. Suri tribe communities occupy one of the most isolated human landscapes in southwest Ethiopia, where fewer than 100,000 people are spread across vast territory with almost no permanent infrastructure. Their world operates by rules refined over hundreds of years, where body adornments like lip plates measuring up to 6 inches across signal identity, resilience, and social status. Scientific studies note that young men can begin warrior initiation before 15 years of age, learning combat skills essential in a region shaped by recurring resource conflicts. Crossing into Suri land alone means entering a tightly governed cultural system where gestures, movement, and timing carry life-altering consequences. Survival here depends less on the environment itself and more on understanding a living code of honor that still decides safety, belonging, and power. Dogon Village perches along the Bandiagara Cliffs in Mali, stretching over 5,000 feet in length and rising more than 1,600 feet high. Fewer than 20,000 people live in homes built directly into the sheer rock face, navigating narrow trails, wooden ladders, and slippery stone daily. For centuries, the community has recorded astronomical knowledge so precise it described invisible stars long before telescopes existed. Access is treacherous, and isolation is nearly total. Medical services are tens of miles away, leaving villagers reliant on centuries-old survival skills. The danger here is not just the vertical drop, but the choice to inhabit a world suspended between rock, sky, and knowledge that the modern world has yet to fully understand. Sagzai sits atop the windswept Mongolian plateau at around 7,000 feet above sea level. Fewer than 1,000 residents live here, moving seasonally with their herds across vast grasslands to find pasture and water. Winter temperatures can drop to 35 degrees below 0 Fahrenheit, and muddy trails and total lack of medical services make solitary travel extremely risky. Daily life revolves around ancient customs and complete adaptation to the harsh environment, where survival depends on skill, endurance, and community knowledge. Sagzai is not dangerous because of crime or conflict, but because it exists at the edge of human resilience, where people live in full harmony with a landscape that spares no weakness. La Rinconada perches high in the Andes at about 12,500 feet above sea level. Fewer than 50,000 residents live amid hand-dug gold mines, where steep shafts and minimal equipment make accidents frequent. Temperatures stay bitterly cold year-round, and frozen ground combined with almost no infrastructure, electricity, clean water, or medical care turns daily life hazardous. Walking narrow streets or mine turtles risks falls or injuries from heavy tools. The danger here isn't wildlife, but human survival on the knife edge between harsh nature and risky labor, where every step tests endurance.